going to grand finals. They don't have to play anymore. That is going to open up the map, the standings. There's so much to break down here. My oh my, though, some of these eliminations we saw in this game, I think you might be right. It is a lot of desperation, right? When these players, the very tippy top, have their backs against the wall, they will make plays happen like paper. This guy jumps up 34 places, Kelly.
And that is what we saw from that incredible elimination, being able to survive to the very end. And that's what we need. We need these desperate plays. They need to be playing like it's the grand finals because of stuff like that.
Yeah, let's not forget, like, I was looking at this duo as this end game was going on. I was like, oh my gosh, is this about to be back-to-back shattered slab victory royales? Like, who's going to be landing there in game number 3? Unfortunately, Paper just barely misses out on the heal up. But there's the shot right there that actually gave him a chance to compete with Jock, who just had so many heals. Look at that. Jock had around about like 40 HP left. So if he could have just found something, one men missed, he could have maybe actually won that game. But nonetheless, bumping up 34 placements, like Zeke mentioned, second place, poison themselves to get top 5.
Well, if we're talking about placements, we got to look at placement points, and there's one team that I'm looking at, and that is Casker and Clarity G with 128 points already, 40 points ahead of that 6th place spot. That's a good position to be in. However, we do obviously still have a few more games to go. Anything can happen in those games, so they shouldn't rest on their laurels just yet.
The big thing for me when it comes to this team is that each game so far, they've actually gone into the end game with a couple of eliminations. So they are quickly finding some refreshes before they get into those desperate situations. And I already mentioned it, so many of these teams are running around with like no materials, just going for like some crazy pump shots, trying to find anything. Like, for example, Scented and Favs, you know, they were based up just to the north of Mega City that game, looking for Storm Surge tags. But the whole time they were doing it, they had like 50 builds each. And I'm just like, when are you guys going to go find materials? They never did. So they went for some, you know, crazy plays. Didn't end up working out for them.
Yeah, and once again, as we turn our attentions back to the standings, look how volatile this is, right? After game 1, Sprite was in first place, but now drops down because of everyone else trying to make plays. But Thork and Bolts, they've managed to hold on, at least for now, right? We only have a handful more games left to go, but they are doing what they need to do. They need to be playing consistently.
And there's that desperate play that I mentioned out of Scented and Favs, actually kind of donated over 2 eliminations to Thork and Bolts here. But I mentioned that they had so many materials, so much more than a lot of these other teams. Unfortunately, that play right there from Scented and Favs puts them in such a bad position, unfortunately. You can see they never really fully recover when it comes to the HP, and Bolts actually ends up getting beamed out of the sky. If he had maybe 60 more HP, was fully healed up after that play, he maybe would have, you know, survived that rotate. But Thork, of course, clutching up some solo placement points, had so many materials like I mentioned, so shout out to him for gathering just those couple more points.
And that's what you need, especially in a position where you can look at his loadout. He doesn't have any splashes. Even his weapons aren't that great, so he's not going to go on the ultra aggression. Instead, he's going to try and survive as long as he can, stay on the edge of the circle so that you know that the front side is going to be where all the congestion is.
Wow, man, these games have been insane. So do we feel like that's going to be continually the trend? Maybe like desperation?
Yes.
Like the way these teams are playing after games 1 and games 2, like I feel like a lot of these teams don't necessarily know how to play these types of lobbies all that well. So I think we're gonna have a lot of those desperate plays, a lot of players to pick on for some of these more experienced duos.
Absolutely. Well, I want to get right back into the action because Surge Week is not disappointed. You guys ready? We're ready. Let's run it. This is game number 3.
Well, time flies when you're having fun, and already we find ourselves just approaching game 3 here. We are moments away from this big fight breaking down, and what an action-packed set of games we've already had. But remember, you have to win here. You have to put it all on the line.
Yeah, we've already seen 2 different teams win in 2 different ways, going to show that as long as you prepare, as long as you practice, set yourself up a blueprint, anything here is possible on the day.
Hey, man, and you know what? At the end of the day, we have quite literally seen just that. That last game was excellent, but we know there is so much more in front of us. Will Punisher be able to win his contested drop? It ended so quickly there before. We know also Mega City is one of the scariest places to be, but don't hold on for us. Let's get on the bus. I heard the horn. I know you did too. It's time.
This is it. The halfway point of the game. of the day, I should say, game number 3.
That's right.
This is where teams, after this, depending on where you're positioned at the leaderboard, that win condition through top 5 slowly but surely slipping out the window, leaving you with no other choice but to get that big VR to end the day.
And that's right. If you are just tuning in, look at the action here. Spearboat Felix fighting it out. Spearboat finds the elimination. This is a change of pace and story for them. They absolutely needed this. Felix was taken out so early in the last game. They actually did not get to play it out. They were one of the first teams fully eliminated. And you know what? For Spearboat, I love the interview that we just had with him. Talk about a competitor spirit. Look at the fun he's having. And Felix, man, I have to give him so much credit. One of the few college students that also competes in Fortnite at the highest levels. And I know for a fact because he's on a short break here, but let's jump in. Costa in Punisher, my oh my. They're going for the 50-50.
Yep, from Sancho West to Nick at 30. Everybody's watching, rooting for a little bit of Punisher, but for Seer and Zyro from Mexico, they got a whole region on their side, and they're going to win the drop spot in terms of taking that high position on the game. Splash is already being used. You can see the Maven shotgun in hand, a shield keg as well. They're looted up and ready to fight this exchange out to the gates. Is costing down to 12 HP, but he's able to kinetic blade. He takes down Yasir without a weapon, but Punisher gets dropped as well. Siphon gets picked up, but the lightning only strikes once with him having nothing to work with. Zyro, he has to know it. He has to sense it. He's not going to continue to chase.
I mean, Jacob, what more can you ask for? What a turn of events there. Zyro Yasir beat them to the drop, and then the kinetic blade comes out, and he just shings him down with a couple big swings there. And now look, tempted by the shield bubble there. He's thinking about it. Barely anything to work with. The more time he gets to Zyro to situate himself, the less likely he is to make it out of here. He has to find a clean escape. But wait a second. Those duos are starting to look in now. We know there's a team there off in the distance. It's Disboy, it's Noodle. They're thinking about sliding on through. Zyro has to hit an exceptional shot, but no. There it is. He finishes up, makes it pretty quickly. Clean finish there onto Costa. But Noodle and Disboy, they're looking down here.
They only know so much. They have to be able to survive. The kinetic blade, the stagger. All his shields get trained off. Disboy just trying to immediately build on up. And there goes another elimination. Zyro goes down. Yasir is down. Punisher, Costa, and now Kenjutsu's crossing is theirs for the taking.
It's crazy because that was worth putting it all on the line for. It was absolutely worth it. You know, so good in fact. Let's just watch it again. Take a look. Costa came through. 1, 2, 3, 4 swings. And then the finish in fashion. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. That's what Fortnite's all about.
Changes the course of the game right there, because if he's able to survive, they're up as a duo, with at least a fighting chance. Dejok and Deshawn just getting pressured from the high ground. 2 AM boys doing a good job of taking every advantage and trying to lead it to yet another advantage. Over on the other side, there's Jutraz and Broken, who's trying to break through the wall. He's controlling a fight like this is going to be important. Especially right out of the gates, fighting directly off spawn. You want to make sure that you get as much of this loot as possible. Flare gun going out. Position is going to be given up.
Looking good here, but the angle, he's playing the left camera and he's having super careful. Putting himself at a big disadvantage here from the low ground peek from Ajok. Days there waiting. It's been a hard day for them though, playing out of the Slappy Shorts position. Non-stop battles. Although they've had these clean 2-on-2s, you just always had another team looking on inward, trying to put their opinion on the matter when it's not being asked for. But hold up, Broken gets into the box. He's taking a full clean fight, and he gets to finish it. Not only that, he gets to slide out and put himself in another spot to land the rest of the shots, and just like that, it's all over. Give him
like
the dance
that.
as well.
I like that from Jutraz, though. Broken was in there putting a lot of the pressure. He made sure all those pieces were under their team's control. So even though it got broken down a few times, they had almost nothing to worry about. Frost and Let's not having the best day so far, but Surge Week, you just need to win and you're in. This could be big for Frost. He wants to make his first FNCS Finals appearance this season, but getting pushed farther back in his zone. Shields getting dropped. Luckily for them, it's not too far of a run before they reach the zone, but they definitely got their work cut out for him here.
Yep, all that matters. If you want to make a name for yourself, show up on the FNCS stage. Show up during Surge Week. put up that performance, and you will absolutely be etched into history. Let's take a look here. Leaderboard, current points. Casker and Clarity lead with a huge margin of 28 over our second place Shadow and Paper. Shadow and Paper is playing so well today. And then it just gets super, super competitive for Defiable, Hinzo, Thor, and Bones. Of course, Acro and his duo.
Ooh, they got the capture point. But whether or not they knew if that duo was over towards the Citadel or not, well, they definitely know now. And that's why you see Sparebow just not breaking down the trees altogether. It doesn't want to give us position right away. He tries to reunite along with Felix. Neither one of these guys want to get surprised. It's a lot of damage that could go out in a single second from Fleury and Bobby towards the high ground. And since they're on the edge of zone towards the Citadel, any team towards the west side of the map should have to travel around this side of the map. So they definitely got themselves a nice position in towards the sky. But the Brutal Bastion Vault, one that so many teams are going to be fighting for game after game. Even if people qualify out of here, another team might begin to move in because it's such valuable loot to fight for.
Yeah, and this spot is like literally contested before this by two teams. Two teams land here, but now we have 4 teams in the general vicinity. They're rotating, and even more in the distance. Aoxy has to put it all down here, and he finds one big tag, and it's enough to get the finish. Now, mind you, they get the Volt from it as well, so talk about the most crucial of eliminations there. That's going to yield the best payout here. Exactly what you need to stay in the business right now. But Diego with the surprise attack onto Curly. Curly gets a heal off, and you can hear the charge just cook. A nostalgic sound for me to see the charge in action.
I was scared there for a moment right there. Diego barely caught himself as he got tagged with that ODM gear. If he didn't build that ramp on the side of the mountain, he would definitely take a little bit more fall damage, forced to expend a lot more of those chug splashes. But since he didn't, you can see exactly what the plan is mine. Save the splashes for as long as possible. Scavenge any bit of loot, even if it's some fruits, some vegetables, as he pops the corn. And since he knows Curly and Nerf is right behind them, they can continue to stay 2-3 paces ahead, turn back for Surge any moment they want.
And I just want to talk about how great, not only of a duo as Casker and Clarity J as they're leading, but so is Scented and Fast. They've mixed up their playstyle. Last game, they said, hey, we got safe zone. Let's stick around Mega City. Let's see what happens. It did not work out. Notice how they did not repeat that same course of action. They see a new game. They take a different approach. The best players are going to find these moments to adapt from round to round. They will not make the same mistake more than once. Caster and Clarity, at this point, they've almost punched their way all the way through to finals, right? They just have to cruise. Stay in the game. Stay alive, and they should be okay.
Yeah, especially if you take note that a lot of the superstar teams have already placed inside of the top 40. They are in the FNCS Grand Finals. So it may take a few games, but in a lobby like this, especially with Surge League, different formats, points for eliminations that makes it a little bit more worth the risk, it will change how it plays from the first game all the way to that very last game of the day. Shadow and Paper, they're not trying to go down anytime soon. They got that vault loot from Shattered Slabs, and they're trying to get themselves the best position in zone. With it continuously going towards the north with an eastern tilt, they know exactly where they want to set up at.
Ooh, investing some heavy metal here, so you know it's a big commitment right now. Tough to come across these big materials, but we want to go ahead and, of course, solidify the big loot. It's the only way to get it. Big shots coming out from the distance here now. They go for it. It's Mega and Snake up top. A 9th place duo, 4th place duo down low. We have to tune in with current sitting 8th, who was, mind you, in first not too long ago, but they get dropped early, and look at how quickly they slide down the totem pole.
Just gotta have that same confidence from game number 1. No matter what happens, because 88 points is still enough for a pop-off game. You can squeak into the top 5 at a moment's notice, especially for a team like Mars and Park. I think their biggest worry is staying mentally tough throughout a lot of what goes on through the day. Zeke Maniac just trying to peek some shots through any nook, any crevice that they could find. They're going to use to their advantage. They have to be careful with no mobility on Zeke. Disengaging may not be the easiest thing if it comes down to it.
Well, listen, there isn't a single duo in this lobby that doesn't have a chance to go directly to finals. All of these fights just have so much significance and weight behind them for Pars and Mars. This is why they just sit here. They look. They try to time the opening. They say, hey, if you want to battle us, you're going to have to come towards us because I'm not going to take that initiative here. It's not worth it to me. They play nice and slow here. Pars and Mars now have to go ahead and just take what they can and escape out the side. They do have the zone, but we will be wary of whether or not they have the tags to back it up once the surge turns online.
Whether they have the tags or not for Storm Surge is another question for Sentin and Fabs. But when you look at their loadout right now, this is probably one of the best loadouts you're going to get from a team like this. Scratch, just some mobility would be the only thing that they're missing.
And I do find it incredible just how this is the second duo in the lobby. The second most total damage of any duo in the lobby. And they're so low in total points, but it just shows you Mega City is just a place of action. It's a zone of so many teams trying to fight one another, and it's costing all of them their points. So I love that Santin and Fabs are already out early. They land to get what they need, and now they're playing for endgame. They absolutely have to.
Especially with where they're currently at on the leaderboard. Might need a pop-off game, if not the VR itself. At least put yourself in contention for that top 5. Give yourself multiple win conditions and qualification conditions to kind of play through. Sure, you see all these weapon caches around, everybody just trying to gain and gather what is theirs. But with so many teams at the top of the leaderboard and the bottom of the leaderboard, that's going to dictate how they play. So Jenny, you're going to go ahead and break down where our teams lay and what they have on.
Thank you, Jacob. Yes, as we can see, Shore is staying a little bit on the outskirts of Storm, away from everybody, getting all of those metal materials, which is so important for endgame, as we see. We've seen just making sure that you are getting like every mat and every little bit. And we have Casker and Clarity, and they have over 100 builds, which is why we've seen them be such a top team. So they are just incredible.
Yeah, Caster and Clarity, can't hype it up enough. And thank you, Jenny, for the breakdown, because it allows us to really get into a little bit of the insight right behind the scenes. Yeah, we talked about it. It's hard to find the material. You need the routes. And, you know, for some, they prepare. This is why you see the rise in folks just taking the time to bother you, sit back. I mean, shoot, find someone to coach you. Find a friend to sit by you and just help you out and start making decisions here. It can make the difference sometimes.
Yeah, from a loot path to a surge path, having every bit of your game plan, or at least kind of written down so you're not surprised at any turn, is going to be important. The capture point finally does come through. Widow Madden position is going to be revealed. They're just trying to scavenge together any bit of loot that they have. Sprite and Giants think this is another opportunity, another chance for us. Last time we had these overclock pulse rifles, well, we finished second. Not exactly the place we wanted in that game, but if first you don't succeed, you try again. And with that bit of loot in their hands, because they're also going to get some heals to work with, this is exactly where Sprite and Giants want to be.
What? This is Fortnite. Anything can happen. Crazy engagements, big plays, and of course, life-changing moments. So it makes this so exciting. This is why we tune in to watch these competitors compete here. These are, of course, the remaining best few that will be punching their way to finals for next week's competition. But right now, the focus is here on game 3. Plurk jumps right in, exposes himself face wide open to Snake and Mega. And Snake and Mega nearly did not hear him slide that close. That was danger on the horizon. But Plur's here now. What do you think about this? Taking the fight literally by himself.
It's definitely a brave attempt to go through. Oh, you can honestly see what he might have had in mind, especially the first time he kinetic blade up there. This could be a chance to go for a sneak attack, especially since it didn't necessarily look like Mega and Snake were paying attention. So I give him an A for the strategy overall, what he was thinking. But after that, he was just unable to execute, goes down. His B-Dog does look like he is a player that's kind of positioned high up on this mountain. You see him kind of looking around, trying to gather the information. You see what he has, that Shadow Tracer pistol. He also has the flare gun. For him, he's just trying to spot out where every single person is so he knows where to go next.
Now the flare gun's going to give him the ease of mind there to go ahead and allow him to know, okay, I'm completely safe here. I'm still okay. Nothing to worry about. Let's jump in with Shore and Day, though. here's a team, like we said before, completely contested. Last game, they finally break loose. They finally find themselves a bit of success. This game, 2 eliminations. Where did it all go right for them? Right here. Big open fires out in the open. That's exactly what they need right now. That's a confidence surge as well for them.
Wow, now that's a stat that honestly shows who the brawn is of this operation. On one, I call them one of the West's best box fighters for a reason. But it takes more than just mechanics, more than just skill. Paired with Zypha, they kind of complete each other. You know, the peanut butter and jelly, that brains and the brawn. And Onwin has a lot of that experience on the international stage as well, so he knows when and where to adapt, when to switch up your strategy when things aren't working. As Felix does go down in the feed, unfortunate for them as their run comes to an end likely, because I didn't see a knock. It was just an elimination.
Yeah, that's right. It was just a finish there. Madden, though, last time we tuned in, he was up. Now it's just Widow. Widow, who we did see make an end game just moments ago in game 2, and now finds himself duo-less. Spotify, though, looks like he's got himself all types of issues here as well. He's below the surge. They're going to have to fight.
Easy trying to bulldoze into the box, but you can see their opponents are just trying to backtrack, play defensive.
Okay.
There's only so much that defensive play could do as they're immediately continuing to try to get that piece control. Cone's going to go down. Omizi's under pressure. Swexi's doing a good job. They split up. That was played almost perfectly right before our very eyes. 2 different doors, 2 different angles. They sealed the deal.
Jacob, it doesn't get any better than that for Omizi and Swexy. They just get to devour the loot here. They're close enough to the zone as well. It, honestly fixes their surge issue that they were about to have as well that was approaching there. And now Zypha realizes, uh-oh, there's a duo in here. Get on over here, on one. I think we found a team to fight.
Kind of see Zypha immediately saw that there was a duo under him. There was a duo across from him. He's just trying to separate himself from everybody else. As Omizi trying to do the same, but unfortunate for him, he gets tagged up along the way. That's the risk. That's the reward that we kind of talk about when it comes to ODM and the kinetic blades, and just trying to zoom your way from one point to another. The kind of fan favorite, the story that everybody is watching this weekend, Scented and Fab, to see if they're going to continue that miracle run. Without the first 2 games so far, only 12 points. They're not quite positioned exactly where they want them to be, but it was in that last game of week 3 that Favs clutched up to keep their hope alive, got the reboot on Descented, and eventually got top 10 to qualify just this far.
So crazy to think they put their back to the indestructible reboot van as well. It's not like they needed the pickup. They say, hey, let's just protect this angle from ourselves. So just little plays like that. Scented, one of the kings of positioning. Just so good. Curly and Nerf now, though. They've had a hard time so far. Below the surge. Find some tags to keep them alive for a little longer. Can he get a finish? No. It doesn't happen. The surge claims another one here in game number 3. Remember, there's only 5 games. Today's a short day for us, but what feels like probably a daunting, long day for the players.
Yeah, double pressure here on the day, because it's not just playing from 1 week to week 2 to week 3. This is your season on the line, continuing that journey. And on the other side of the major as well, 3 open spots from NA are going to go straight to that global championship at the end of the year. So it's money, it's fame, it's glory, it's bragging rights that everybody's fighting for here on Surge Week. 84 points for Static and Wavy Jacob. It's exactly what a lot of these teams, consistency overall. You can have a pop-off game at any moment, but you cannot put yourself into a hole to where the pop-up game does not mean anything.
That's right. The reality is, this is an easier stage of competition. It's only going to get harder once you get to the final settings. And you're going up against the rest that have already pushed through. For Wavy Jacob, Static, can they see themselves sitting amongst that top 50? They're fighting their way through there. They have 45 damage just above the surge. How did they find themselves in this successful position for Snake and Mega, though? Look at this. Slide on through. This is why you protect every nook and cranny. You never want a Snake to crawl their way through the grass and find a moment's chance there. They will bite.
That's 8 more points, but no placement. Still into our top 29. So with all the action that we've seen up until this point, can you believe we haven't even got into that top 25 where a lot of those placement points are still up for grabs? As we tune into Favs and Scented yet again, pressure from so many other angles. And I like this decision. Instead of just popping 2 minis and not being to full HP and shields, he sacrificed the last of his legendary slurp juices to make sure he has a fighting chance in the rest of this game.
That's a win condition. They toss it out the window to play for right now. They're 30 below the surge. It's a fight that means everything. Liam is looking well, but Jitter's stuck in the box by himself. They box him up, cone him down, grab the wall as well, and Fabs is playing super cautious here as he manages to slip away. But hey, they find the tags that they need. They don't do too much to overcommit there and potentially throw the game. Instead, they need to wait this one out a little bit. Let the lobby cut down a bit. It might just get a little bit easier for them, and they allow them to come straight to them, and Fabs just makes it look so easy.
From 0 slurp juices to 2, all the loot they found as well. And the damage, most importantly, when it comes to that storm surge, sent to the Fabs, do it again, keep themselves alive.
Yeah.
But Mega and Snake are right above. They're another team. You saw them take out a few players early on up until this point, 94 points overall. They're trying to get themselves into that top 5 and hold their position there, so that way it doesn't come down to just the VR.
While they do have the kinetic blade, they will be just fine for this first rotate. But the map's about halfway through now, getting tagged as well on the rotate, so really tough spot to be in. Of course, this ice is also slippery, right? It's not the best spot to be in by any means. He's also not safe just yet.
He's just staggering himself, letting those kinetic blade charges recharge, so that way he can make the journey that much easier, a little bit more smooth. You can see Snake pass on over the slurp juice. He needs it just a little bit more. You see the plays being played over and over in their mind. And with Jackson going down, D-Roller has to make that decision. Do I peek? Do I try to be a hero? Do I try to get my teammate back? Because now the focus is all on me. And right now he's just trying to build more real estate to work with. So that way when the pressure comes in, he has the builds to shield himself. This could be a high-risk, high-reward play if he goes for the revive. And now he has to try to abandon it with the pressure on the other side.
Oh, he's going to stick it out. He's got a chance here. 20 seconds. If he sticks it right now, it'll be okay. But no! He does fall. It looks like the Surge is completely active. They're one of the few duos that are just below. Aoxy gets rewarded with the credit at the elimination. Take a look at the flares scouting out from up above. It's Sprite. It's Giant here. They're chilling. Nothing to worry about, and all the time in the world to size up the lobby, right? I think the players and everyone takes for granted how important this information gathering is here when you don't have anyone shooting back at you and everyone's focused on their rotate. They're able to really just soak it all in and prioritize the best positions possible. This is why they have high ground for virtually free.
Yeah, you see one of them being held back as well, just trying to make sure nobody sneaks their way up. 5-0 and Kinzo, no heals. They're just trying to make it from point A to point B. They have the materials as long as they can keep their HP intact. Kinzo falls just a little bit too far behind. Defiable's waiting, staggering himself to try to be the hero for his team.
Well, Bolts is turned online. Sentidus as well, too. Big names are still alive here in this game. Defiable is below the surge, though, and the clock is ticking just a moment away before things really start to do big damage. Here's Bolts by himself. Where's Thoric? Nowhere to be found, but he's got all the material in the world. He's got a win condition waiting to happen here, and that's off the backs of those big elims. Now look at Fabs here, trying to catch anybody, trying to see if someone can slip their way into their box here for this. Another refresh for them.
See them passing around the material as well for Fabs. Kinzo gets dropped. Defiable with no heals is now left as a solo. Luckily for him, he still has some material to work with. Looks towards the backside, spots out Shore. Unable to deal any damage though. But for him, it's about finding somebody to get close. He has that Mythic Havoc pump. One-shot potential, but Fabs down. It's all up to Scented here. And Fabs and Scented go down yet again as Mega picks up elimination onto Shadow.
Well, there's several teams inside the top 10 right now fighting for these placement points here, fighting for as much as they can use to get inside that top 5, and this is it here. Paper is another solo here, faced with no elims at all. How is he still holding on here? He does have some metal though, so did conserve just enough. What matters most, Bolts here again on the front side of zone, burning through that material there, just trying to stay alive. Look at this, gets boxed up, slips out though, and now has to heal. Can he find a moment to save himself? Look at the layer changes. Bolt's showing us why he is an FNCS champ, why he's just that good.
He said, Thor, you did enough last game as a solo. Now it's my turn with the pressure on. Casker's Clarity, they're trying to get to the front side. Not a ton of materials on Acro and User. They're forced into this exchange. One of them's gonna get dropped. User has no time. He gets lost to the backside of zone. Bolts is still going on a run. Another elimination is gonna be found on Anoxy, giving him enough time time to pop that slurp juice. The siphon's gonna go through as well. He has more than enough materials, but it's the heals that he doesn't have. He has triple havocs instead.
He doesn't need it. The siphon's keeping him alive. The slurp juice is still ticking. It's everything that he needs to have max HP and just rack up the eliminations. Saucy, Edward, he's got a player in front of him, but he doesn't want to make the peek. Oh, his teammate, and someone slips in. This is why wood tarps are so dangerous. Anyone can find their way through. Saucy's by himself now, and things slow down. He's thinking about it. Goes for tag, and it's not enough. It's bolts. He's still going.
174 points. One of two solos left in the game. He looks down, he sees the duo there. Not one of what he going after. But
Oh
wait,
my
there
God.
goes another one. A huge find as he takes him down, but he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Sprite and Giants high ground with the overclock. He drops down low. This is the fight that he wants, and a huge shot is going to be fired on the Snake. Mega and him trying to back up. The pressure on the high ground.
This
A
thing
huge
is
shot on
crazy.
bolts. This is
Even though he doesn't finish it off, oh my gosh, he just shows us exactly how good he is, why he is champion caliber. And Sprites and Giant now have basically a clean escape here, all because Bolts just laid waste to the lobby. But Giants and Sprites, hey, they find themselves in the finals.
That looked like a rerun, but nope, it was a brand new episode. They learned from their mistakes in game number 1. They realized the timing wasn't there for the heal off. They didn't time it perfectly to go down and get the eliminations. They have taken over this game with those pulse rifles, forcing player after player, team after team, down to the low ground, into all that chaos, expending all the material. Snake, he couldn't even climb up.
Man, if you blink, you missed it. Giants and Sprite were just chilling, probably watching the feed there, licking their lips and rubbing their hands together like, dude, we got it, man. Bolts turned up, and now they go straight to finals.
Yeah, you got to imagine Bolts. Got to put him somewhere, maybe into the top 5, maybe into the top 3. But for Sprite and Giants, they get to watch the rest of this one calm, cool, and collected, because they earned themselves a ticket into the finals.
That's right. Well, listen, that's game 3. It's done. It's dusted.
I don't even know what to say. Like, I feel like for Giants and Sprite, they're like, okay, man, hey, you have all the mats, you got all this. They're just hearing shots like, yeah, we're ready. We're good. We win.
Yeah, I mean, when you got Bolts just running throughout the entire lobby as a solo, I mean, shout out to him, because the big question at the start was, hey, listen, can they repeat their title performance? And so far, I mean, if they keep playing like that, it's not even like if they keep playing like that. They've had solo performances in both games 2 and 3, and it's been so good. But I want to go ahead and point out Sprite and Giants, because the strategy for this duo has been very, very clear. Go get the pulse rifles.
Yep. Yeah, we've seen them now have it several times, and we've only had 3 games, so that's a pretty good percentage of being able to claim that pulse rifle there. And you can see they really weren't taking too many shots once we did reach that 12th zone, because all of the action was happening on that low ground, hidden from everyone else. And I love what Sprite does here. He hides a little bit, but also gets a little bit of visibility while he's healing himself, just in case the teams that were on the low ground were able to grab those heals. But once again, Bolts. Usually when we see a player go down to the solos, they play a lot more passively. But what Bolts did is that he had no heals. So he knew the only way to be able to regain those heals was to get the siphons. So he said, you know what? I'm not going to play passively. I'm going to go W key. And it worked out so well for him.
Absolutely wild. Remember, this was the duo that fell out of the top 5. Remember? We talked about them before. They say, we don't need a top 5. Let's just get a victory out and go straight to grand finals. But we take a look at our standings. Remember, we're trying to play for consistency. We want to end the day in the top 5 or get ourselves a victory royale. Casker and Clarity G, they're still holding on, at least for now, Vivid.
Yeah, I mean, 196 points. They've had a consistent performance every single game. They keep putting up eliminations. They keep putting up plays and points, and they keep finding the eliminations before the end game. As you can see right here, you might be like, whoa, like, what are you guys doing? The moving zone is coming in, still going for the shots, finding the eliminations. And again, this is one of those experienced duos that are actually in this lobby right now. They're just making it look easy.
I mean, when you have a loadout like that, where you have legendary weapons, you have all the heals that you could possibly need, you don't really need to do anything too crazy or too different. You just need to play clean, smart Fortnite, and that's exactly what we saw out of this duo right here.
And every single game, they're making sure in the early game they have so many materials. They're getting so much storm surge damage in those early zones as well. There's not very many people landing with them on the southeast side of the map, but they are just bullying the teams that actually are landing down there, getting so much damage done. Their strategy so far, working out flawlessly.
All right, I'm so excited. We actually get to watch the Bolts highlight right now because it was one of my favorite highlights of all of Major 2 so far. I don't think I've ever seen someone with the solo run be so successful in their aggression, Vivid.
Look at him flaunting as well, right? He's got the FNCS pickaxe on while he is just dominating this Surge Week. He's letting everybody know, hey, listen, I may be in Surge Week, but I don't necessarily deserve to be 7 eliminations. That 200 pump that he just hit almost followed it up as well. That other player only had 11 HP. One more bullet, he would have found that double elimination.
And just to contextualize this, maybe even a little more, though we had like a crazy run out of Bolts, just look, Casker and ClarityG, they're still holding that lead, right? So though we're seeing some really high-end, high-quality performances, there's still other duos doing the same thing. We just may not catch it in the moment. Mega and Snake as well. I feel like we've just been on these guys all game long, right? We keep jumping in. They're finding eliminations. They're finding these ways. Again, treating it like a grand finals. Now, of course, we do want to put this on pause for a moment because guess what? We have an interview. We're going to talk to none other than FaZe Replays. What is going on? Wow, Replays. It's good to see you, man. How you doing?
It's good to see you too. I'm doing amazing. You know, just having fun watching FNCS today. Can't complain. Can't complain at all.
I love to see it. Replays, you're a zero build king. You know, you're out here watching these games. How are you feeling about Major number 2? How's NA shaping up for you right now?
Man, the games are so intense. Like I haven't been like this, you know, like locked into just like viewing in a very long time. So the players are doing an amazing job, you know, giving an amazing experience for the viewers. So shout out to the players for doing that.
Nice. And of course, Replays, you know, we got to see you at the FNCS Invitational, that last in-person event. These majors are all about making it to globals. Let us know, like, kind of like what the vibes and what it means for players to kind of make it to those type of events.
Man, you know, like just being here right now in Surge Week, like these players are showing that, you know, they have a lot of talent. So even advancing to another round shows even more, man. They have a lot of potential. So I just want to, you know, give good luck to all the players around, and I hope the best for all of them in these next 2 games.
Well, we've had some incredible plays so far in Surge Week, but have you had a favorite moment out of the 3 games we've watched?
Man, there's like so much. I can't even like, I know there's so much going on. I can't even think like of one right now. Maybe, I actually can't think of one. I can't. There's been so much going on. I actually can't. I'm sorry.
It's all good, man. I'm telling you, it's
players
crazy.
are doing their job. They're doing their job. I'll say that.
Absolutely. Replays, where can the fans out there find you?
You can find me on Replays on all social medias, FaZe Replays on YouTube, and yeah.
Absolutely. Replays, one more thing. I need you to go find Nick 830, and he's been talking about bringing the Infinity Blade back. I need you to go set him right, okay? I need you to go set him right, Replays, for me.
I'll have a talk with him. Sounds good. I'll have a talk.
Thank you. Thanks for hanging out, Replays. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, yes.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man. Well, listen, we still have a competition. Okay, we still have 2 more games to go. Victory Royale, ending the day in the top 5. What are you hoping to see?
More of what we just saw from Bolts, man. I want to see some solo clutches. It's some of my favorite part of Fortnite, and a lot of these players are the top echelon of players. So if anyone's going to pull out some solo plays, it's these guys right here, especially in the final 2 games.
So far, I feel like a lot of the teams that are kind of hovering around the top 5 have been the ones that are getting these victory royales. I want to see one of those like bottom teams win out in one of these last couple games, make that run happen.
Let's get ready then. You heard what these guys want. Or you guys want some more action? I want more games. I don't know that I can take, my little heart can take the next 2, but I'm ready for it. Action right here, right now. This is the FNCS.
With 3 games down, there's still 2 games left to go, and those are the last chances for our teams to try to punch their ticket to the FNCS Grand Finals. And Bolts and Thorg, they have to be that hot team right now that everybody's looking for to win through either a VR or a top 5.
Hey, if you wasn't a fan before, I'm sure you're a fan now because they've turned online and the potential is here. But hey, I heard the battle bus. I know you did too. Let's start loading up, Jacob. Let's start taking a look. Who will set themselves up here in Game 4? Every single round we've seen so far, it's given us so much excitement, so much to look forward to. Conversation points to start feeling out. And what I want to talk about is this whole idea. When a team wins, they leave the lobby. Things become a little bit simpler. But if your team, like these guys right here, has been landing on you over and over, I mean, you're putting everything on the line. Oh my gosh.
That Siphon I thought was going to save him. Zyro's just trying to make a run, but Punisher on the tail end just takes him down by tagging him up in his Achilles heel. Punisher and Costa now, the victors of Kenjutsu Crossing, and have the best chance to take it overall, but a switch up of drop spots, Sentin and Favs, they want their racetrack back.
Hey, I like this. I like that they're saying, you know what, we're not just gonna fold over and give you the drop. I'm gonna go back to this trusted, true place that we know. Mega City is just a little too hot for us. 4 teams are there. Like, why will we even try to play that out? We have better odds against just another, and that's what they end up doing here.
Fairborn Felix, business as usual for them. Elimination each. And that's Aminish who went down along with Sid. Go ahead and check how they're able to quickly go grab that one. It's just out-dropped and outclassed by Sparebro. Taking down Sid. Felix had the high ground and the pressure from the other angle. Easy for them at a drop spot they hope to hold into finals.
That's right. It's a great, great position to, of course, be the kings of. Here's Pars and Mars. I mean, we saw what they've been able to do so far. Definitely sneaking their way into those mid-game positions, but getting past that truly has been a hurdle for them. For Costa and Punisher, they've been paying attention to every round that they've survived. They realized that the other duo, Needle, has been sliding on up and trying to take these fights. Hold up. On over to Acro's team, up against Shadow and Paper. It's a 2v1, but we know that anything is possible. Things can change pretty quickly here, especially when your teammate does not have shield, so Paper needs to continue to just reset here, get back in the game.
And even though they're able to get an elimination on Acro, the user just probably got the card and trying to make his way out.
It's Coexian Butterfly.
Costa just sees this one coming. Coxie probably thinks he's safe. Did he spot the top side of his head? And there goes Costa trying to make the play. First shot's going to be landed. Not a ton, but it's something for Costa to continue to try to put pressure on. Different angles coming through. Pressure and Costa playing like they want it all here. And this could be a big game. They could qualify off this one or put themselves in contention of that top 5. They just have to keep the same tempo. They already got 3 eliminations right out of the gate with 2 more in Noodle and Dizboy sneaking on up.
Now, last game, Noodle and Dizboy, of course, found the previous duo alive in the same situation. They sneak up just like this, but this time Dizboy gets boxed up, put on a defensive position here, tagged first before he can actually find his exchange, and a great tag from the low ground there. Punisher is extremely hurt. Both sides down to just a single tag here now.
Already just under pressure, he's just trying to find a moment, stabilize himself, pop the minis, big pot as well. As Noodle's just immediately trying to disengage as well. They find safety here in numbers. For Costa and Punisher, the choice is definitely theirs. Do you disengage? Do you try to hold on to this position? I think with Botify slowly but surely sneaking up, they knew Coxie was already there. They're just trying to play the rest of their game out as a team. Let them fight it out, and we'll come and clean up the scraps.
That's right. They have the extra bits of information here, and with that, the advantage to make the first decision. They split up left and right. Coxie makes it out the side. Punisher and Costa live to see another day. Jitify is there, though, nearby. Take a look here. We get to jump in with Marzo W, who ends up finishing up a contested fight up north. Now, remember, they land, and they have all the time in the world to loot up, but it just seems like everyone nearby, all these neighbors, are not so friendly.
Yeah, it's these split drops towards the north side of the map. They feel like there's just not enough loot to kind of split between the two. You see, Mars doing all he can before going down, but Mars seals the deal, finishes his job, and that's great because it gives you the confidence that you can rely on your teammate at any turn. There's Paper and Shadow once again. A little bit more contested Sword Shadow slabs than we've expected, but definitely worth noting that they've kind of had that vault in every single game, which they're using to put themselves high up on the leaderboard. They want to give themselves consistency throughout the next couple of games, so they have less and less to worry about. But for Sentin and Favs, the huge switch up for them was because Sprite went ahead and qualified themselves on out. But I'm going to go ahead and throw it on over to Kelly so she can let us know exactly how this came to fruition.
Thank you so much, Jacob. You guys heard me say it earlier. I'm going to say it again. Adapting is the name of the game in Surge Week. And with Sprite's team already grabbing the VR and moving from Racetrack, it's one of our top teams, Fav and Sentit, dropping from North Mega City and now switching up back to Racetrack to grab that spot and see how it turns out for them in this game.
Makes a lot of sense. You literally need to change your game plan. We talked about it. Mega City, highly contested. Why land there? Why, you know, risk all the odds when you can just go ahead and go back to the true and trusted stuff. That's what happens, man. The dynamics of the games are going to change here in Surge Week. And it's only going to happen like this, literally, in Surge Week. Once we start gearing up for finals, you're going to see teams, you know, make a decision, most likely stick with it. Very rarely do they end up making any adjustments at that point moving forward. So, Wavy Jacob, we've managed to follow his story for quite some time. They're doing pretty decent so far. Couple rounds though, right? 2 big games right here can change anyone's situation. Like, look at Costa and Punisher. They really only had game 1 where they just broke away, did so well, and then lost the top spot in the last 2 games. But look, they're still inside the top 15.
For them, kind of returning to hear that reboot going off into the distance. They see that as a sign of weakness over on the other side, but there's 2 teams fighting over on that side of the map as Punisher's actually going to go ahead and get the knock on to Coxie yet again. It's definitely theirs for the taking. But it's going to be up to them if they decide to do so. They still have that capture point over towards Genjutsu Crossing. They have the bounty board there as well. And they have a 3rd or 4th team looming into the distance over on this side of the map. So I do like their decision just to hold height.
Noodle gets the full Elin there, gets to pick up the mats, but of course not the credit for the elimination, as you do need to get the knock in order to get that reward. Just like that, Noodle and Dizboy still stick around here, showcasing that, hey, they're a contender to play here too.
Talk about contenders. Dork and Bolt's championship
what a team.
material. They already got 1 FNCS under their belt. In this day alone, they both have solo clutches for a massive amount of points. Dork did it first. Bolt's had probably one of the most hyped plays of the day so far here.
Bolts put up a single game record with 72 solo impact points in game 3. Really, you need to wrap your head around that statistic for a second. What this means is by himself, he pulled in 72 points. That was why we were so excited that last game, casting over how he was just rampaging through that endgame.
Shot after shot. Just
Wow.
feel the pressure on a lot of the players, using the flare to go ahead and try to get information on everybody that is coming closer and closer to their frenzy fields. Slacks a nut over towards Anvil. They have their plan set out. Nut's just kind of scavenging all the loot here towards the low ground, farm up everything that he can. Meanwhile, Slacks has that skyscraper on top of the castle that they're using to try to have as much surge as possible. As the zone pulls in again, they're trying to be one of the first teams there, so they can try to do that once more. Grab one of these mountaintops and try to build a box on top. That way they can try to get surge tags yet again. They know it's not something that you do in just one moment. You have to do it throughout the course of the game.
Tough to think Slacks and Nut really haven't even been able to pick up a point yet. It's showing you how difficult even Surge Week can be. Such an experienced team, one that, of course, is written on the list of teams that can absolutely pull through with a win. And that's the exciting part about Surge Week. Who cares how many total points you got? Maybe that is a win condition for you. Maybe that is a finals condition for you. But at the end of the day, every game still matters because a win will send you right on through to the finals.
Already seen so many times in history alone that a team can qualify from Surge Week and win the FNCS title overall. Liam and Jitter, they're trying to start their run here with 72 points. They know it's not where they want to be in terms of the top 5 on the leaderboard, but if they are going to pick up the pace, it comes at finding a weapon cache just like this. They went ahead and activated it rather quickly to keep the legendary loot intact and all those heals, so they're trying to get themselves the best chance as possible going from mid-game into the end game.
Now, do keep in mind, you see that 19, it just says that, yeah, they're over on 19, but subtract the teams that qualified, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're a lot closer than it may seem when you're bubbling around this top 15 situation right here. Like, you are just one great game away from being inside the next most consistent duos that can go directly to finals. So play well, you're there. Win a game, you're there.
75 shield just like that. Shore landing some great shots. Early on in this season, I kind of felt this was the resurgence of Day, the FNCS champion of past. I still think he has it in him to have those pop-off games, but in order to get into the top 5, it might take at least one of these next 2 to be a pop-off performance. But for Casker and Clarity, 196 points so far. For them, they have the luxury of having a little bit more patience, a little bit more calm, cool, collected style of gameplay.
And they're so just consistent. So consistent, even in grand finals. Many, many, many top 10 performances and appearances for them. But hold up, Aoxy and Swirl eyeing up a duo. They have no idea they're there, and they come out. They attack, but they miss that first tag, but it doesn't matter. Swirl's there to go ahead and follow up. He gets to hunt him down. No, he actually doesn't even get to get the full finish. There it is. It finally comes. It comes in a little late, and at what cost? The cost of a couple heals, but look, the reward is huge. Yeah, so what? They throw a keg down. They earned another one back. Even more shields, of course, and the refresh, which they absolutely needed. Material count there was only 65 builds. And now on over to Day and A. Really hard position for the Slappy Shores duos here. I don't think we have a single Slappy Shores duo that has really had a breakaway performance, really showing that everyone here is just about evenly matched. Take a look at Jutras and Broken Hole.
Yeah,
They're the one. They're the one
yeah,
exception.
it wasn't necessarily all in one performance, though. It was throughout the last 3 games, consistent as could be. A couple pop moments here and there as well. But Slappy Shores is going to be in the zone as it pulled on over to this side of the map, and that's where we see a lot of teams beginning to congregate in this position. So it almost leads to believe if you don't have your surge at this stage in the game, this might be a blessing in disguise. But with Rift Island appearing, you're seeing everybody daring enough to even go for it in this position. Shadow and Paper is going to be one of the 2 teams fighting for it right out of the gates.
They go straight to the top. ODM gear to swing on over. They want to be the ones to go in and solidify it. Yeah, there it is. Secure. The loot distributor there, and we're going to be able to hang out.
Got to be careful for the players that are in the distance. They were the ones tagging up Paper. Trying to be a little bit of annoyance. But for them, it's their plan for that surge overall as Paper and Shadow looking like they're going to claim all this loot. The overclock pulse rifles, the extra heals, which makes it that much easier for Paper to kind of justify using that slurp juice very, very early on.
Big fan of Aoxy and Swirl's continued positioning and style of play here. Hiding behind the same wall. If it worked once, it'll work twice, right?
Usually. Sometimes. Maybe. Just on the outskirts of Brutal Bastion. Salty has to know that somebody is nearby. Just doesn't know exactly where everyone is positioned. You see right in front, there's still 2 more teams there. A little bit towards the right, 2 more teams there. There's 5.5 teams in this close proximity of Brutal Bastion on the edge of the zone that still have to travel even further forward.
Well, we have 3 excellent weeks of FNCS competition before leading into this Surge week here. Now we're approaching the end of Game 4. Is just moments away. Things are going to get real crazy now. But hold up, let's jump back in. Paper's down. The story changes here. The narrative adjusted. Shadow's left by himself. What went wrong? It looks like a lot of teams want these rifles.
Yep. They're seeing what Sprite and Giants was able to do with them last game with the high ground. They won it overall. So people are saying, why not us? Why can't we make a fight for it? Even Evo and Salco have that position towards the high ground. Looking on over everybody else. Some teams are going to be fighting for this loot. Others are just be fighting for damage and scraps that get left behind because they don't want to risk it. But 17 below for Evo and Salco, they have to risk something to land even a shot into the distance, a close range havoc, anything at this stage in the game.
I'm more surprised they're going to go for tags here when they realize there's a solo and just a duo right nearby that had fresh weakened builds based off of their edits. The passive play might not work out, might actually force them into a much more peculiar situation. Give it a couple moments though, let's see what conjures up from it. And there it is, expending, using the heals here to stay alive. When they just had a moment, they just had an opportunity to turn up and push that duo.
It's very crucial that they don't let their shields get popped overall. Because right now, nobody knows the struggles that they're going through until that audio cue does give up. There's Noisy and Siren on the other side. They're trying to take advantage of a displaced player, but immediately tries to disengage, reposition himself, and that's going to be the green light for Salco and Evo. With all that action going down, they're trying to go ahead and use that as a way to get the damage that they need for Surge. Whether they got it or not, that's going to be another question because it shuts down altogether, but just for now.
And it's not just this pocket, not just this island that's having a fight. Punisher gets knocked. Costa gets the exchange and the revenge back onto Coexi. So other big teams are also having a struggle right now. Big fights are breaking out everywhere. For Evo and Salco, though, They have slipped back under. They jumped up. They slipped under. It's a back and forth here. Everyone's fighting. And they slip away now into the storm as they play passively here, trying to find any tag. You know they're going to look back at this moment and say, man, I missed these shots when it mattered most. And he could not connect. Oh, man, it's only getting tougher from here on out.
Yeah, now they have to worry about not only going for that surge, but rotating with a lot of these other teams as well. You called it out yourself. Punisher in the feed did go down. It's all left up to Costa, who wastes no time. He realized zone pushing in. This is my opportunity, now or never, to get my teammate back, while so many other teams have already made their journey to zone.
And they picked up 6 eliminations. Keep in mind, this is the team that was popping off in game 1 with Elims. They lose game 2, lose game 3 on the drop, come back game 4 with a vengeance, with the wrath like we haven't seen any other duo keep before. They have 6 successful eliminations. Who would have thought the NA West boys had it like that?
They're just trying to position themselves on the leaderboard to have a different variant game number 6 if it does come down to it. Right now, as we get into this game earlier on, it was 136 points, where that 5th splayed threshold it actually is at. A Shadow's getting paper back. This is going to be a huge one for them in their game. And look at him. He was able to escape with at least one of the 2 overclock pulse rifles for them. This is a huge success.
That's right, and what's left, the remnants of the Volt there too. Look at that. It's going to yield out everything they need. They're back in the game like they never left. And what a change. What an eventful story for them. Here comes the half-half. Pops here. Of course, the adjustments here in Zone 6 is much larger than what it used to be. It's going to really force players to get nice and close, but let's catch up. Let's see, how did the story unfold for Siren here? They were below the surge by 185. It pops off here, and they say, we got to get in and take the battle. They do just that. Put some respect on Siren and Noisy here. They're here to fight, and they finally earned themselves a couple of big points here. That could be the difference there. This could be the juice, the battery in the pack to let them know we can play this endgame out, man. We can get a dub here. They need it.
Yeah, they need surge as well. 89 above. They're not feeling confident when it comes to that. Where they're positioned, using the Shadow Tracer to try to land a couple of shots. Putting themselves just a little bit more above that threshold. As Nosh now under pressure. Turtle's there to try to play defensively and hold on to his build. Siren doesn't like it as third-party shots begin to come in. He immediately repositions, disengages, and tries to get ahead of all the chaos. So that way, it makes his job that much easier in terms of survival.
It's wild. He's looking for his teammate, and he didn't even realize Nosh was literally in the bush that he slid right by. Turtle Tavern there just on the heels as well. We saw the interview with Tavern, a true competitor at heart. He's been talking about how he wants to really show people what he's got, what he's made of. He thinks he's better than the numbers he's put up in recent times. For Snake and Mega, one of the highest point-earning duos in the lobby, currently alive, chipping away slowly at that finals position.
Flashes, anything that they can, just trying to break through. Look towards the backside of zone. Is this loot worth taking damage for? Going to get? I think the answer is going to be no, as they immediately turn around and try to gather the information of where these players are going to be. From one hero player to another, Costa early on in the game got Punisher back into this one. But now Punisher lost Costa, so now he has to do it by himself. And it may not necessarily be for the VR that Punisher is playing for. It's to put himself in a position to where in that last game of the day, they have a shot at getting into the top 5 if VR doesn't come to fruition.
That's right, and this is so desperate by Punisher. Literally farming walls right now to get anything possible. And the fact that he gets spotted out there sets him back. Not only a tag, but the mats he just farmed. That tower does not yield much. A very difficult spot to be in. Zypha. Oh, well, hello there. We tune in with you. He just slides up, puts himself right on the edge of zone here, trying to fight out the gate. Knocked body there. Won the exchange. Hello, Nosh. The full convert.
I like how Turtle immediately had to abandon. He said, if I try to be a hero, if I try to go back for any of that loot, it'll cost us everything, our whole game, and leaving it down to our 5th and final one on the day. which allows for Zypher and Almond to scavenge all of that loot, get themselves above the position in which they were at before. And you can see Snake and Mega, any opportunity these guys got, they'll take it. They're down on Surge. They immediately try to focus on the player in the lobby, and that's going to be Clarity. Casker's go down.
Now, this is huge, right? That's our third place, most consistent team, taking out the second place, or our previous first, actually, most consistent that early. So for Clarity and Casker, if they had a coast, if they were coasting, if they were cruising their way to a top 5, maybe it's not going to be that simple anymore, as they have fallen much sooner than they would have liked there. And they didn't have that many eliminations. Keep in mind, this is a very zero-sum game for them. They've earned just a few places.
This is huge. This is a huge moment because we have first place is out, second place is out, fourth and fifth are out, sixth and seventh. Add that to the list of players watching from the lobby. For Mega and Snake, this is a huge moment here to pick up as many points as possible. Put yourself further up that leaderboard, so even if you don't manifest at VR, you put yourself in a position where you just need an average game going into the last one.
And for Cardi and Patek as well, they can finally have a breakaway moment here. Is Punisher still alive is a question too. Take a look. Where is Punisher? Remember, he was a solo. He had 100 builds. He just might have been taken out on that last push as well. He was one of the few bubble teams that tried to go in and slide in.
Yep, they go down. I know it's a lot of shifting still to go in the game. About 16th place as it currently stands, but into the top 21 we go. There's still a ton, a massive amount of placement points still up for grabs. And then the biggest note that I've been talking about is the change of points per elimination. Weeks 1 through 3, it was 2 points per. In this Surge week, it's 4 points per elimination, which allows for these players for that high risk, high reward style of play if they're daring enough to go for it, like Sparebow and Felix looking like they're going to try to be one of the first teams to claim any bit of height in this lobby.
3 Elims as well. Huge game here. Can they make this miraculous comeback? Replacement points, probably not. That most likely out the window, so they're trying to poise themselves up for a win. If there's a player that can never do it, it's him. But Mega here. Mega's got a completely different story. They just got to stay up. They just have to keep earning.
Everybody outside of the top 5 right now, this is their gift. Mega goes down because it opens up the leaderboard wide open. If he drops, teams 1 through 8 are sent back to the lobby, so there's a lot of pressure on as he ODMs past everybody else, builds himself up a couple of layers. He knows how chaotic that low ground is, but the material's running dry. So are the timing that Mega's given himself.
And just like that, 300 material, gone. That's how quickly you can lose all those mats. Just trying to tarp your way through, find yourself safe, but it's not that easy. Zypher on one so hurt here. No teammate nearby him. He does get a little bit of a big heal off, but no, there goes the knock body. He wants to get on top of him. Sparebow loses Felix on the high ground. Another team is desperate here. This is what game 4 of Surge Week is all about. It's Nexi there who boxed him up, and Sparebow now has to give up high ground. Sent down low, loses the layer to Nexi and crew, who timed the retake.
Meanwhile, Mega finding every nook and cranny, crevice to use to his own to skate past everybody else. Now Zypher's gonna have to take a page out of that playbook, using the bush because he only has 1 build left to his name, but 3 charges of the kinetic blade. He's gonna go up and over the Manduus and allow himself to look back. He's trying to catch anybody off guard, but so is Mega, and the team at the high ground is not gonna be the ones we thought before. It's Nexi, it's Redux. Can they hold on to it? That's the question we're asking ourselves.
Well, Nazi took down Sparebow. Stacky goes up for height. There's a big fight on your left-hand screen, and this is gonna exchange hands once again, but Lawrence doesn't want it to happen for anyone. He's actually fighting back, so height is just in shambles. Meanwhile, Mega sneaking his way through, bottom right of your screen, walking his way towards this endgame as a solo, by the way. What an excellent job for him to continue to chip away at earning points here.
And a third team found themselves fighting for that high ground. That was Zeke, that was Lawrence, and they're one of the healthiest ones up there. This could be big and momentum shift for them and the rest of this game as Mega, Mars, everybody still trying to break through the builds. And Mega, you gotta give him so much credit here. Surviving as a solo and only has the ODM instead of a kinetic blade. 1 tag is all it takes, and he goes down. That's Veer Justice who are living.
Close, but not close enough. Now on height. Let's play a little game. It's Lawrence. It's hide and seek here for Elims and set up to potentially walk away with the win, but they don't have the heals. Any team can still take this away now. Remember, these zones, they fly far. You don't have enough mats to really slide this one out there. You need hundreds to do it. Let's see it. Wavy Jacob's still up 2. He's going to find himself a refresh. An absolute game changer refresh there onto Fab. One of the duos, of course, the counterpart to Scented here.
Diego gets dropped down into a land of sharks in the water as they take him out. Into the top 4 we go. Scented with a miracle. He's faced adversity up until this point. He's just firing off left and right before he finally gets dropped down. That's Pate, one of the players still left alive, earning himself a position into the top 10. 7 eliminations as a team. He finds a huge shot onto another player, but with Zone pushing him in, he has no HP heals. He has to think of something to keep his game going against Wavy Jacob and Static.
This is Wavy Jacob there, though. He's waiting, trying to see if you open up that wall, but no, they take their time. Hide and seek, we talked about it. They won't be able to stay up here for long. They're out of material now. Lawrence, that's it. It's just 10 mats, no white heals. Hide and seek way up on high ground. And Lawrence takes on toe-to-toe Jacob and Static there, and he finds one, and Wavy Jacob just sits back. He allows him to slip inside of the bush. There's no way you find him now, and Hide and Seek has all the extra heals here to close it out, and just like that, he literally cruised their way into a dub.
Yeah, I like how Lawrence was just sitting there hiding in the bush. He knew exactly where Wavy Jacob was at, but he didn't go for the elimination. He didn't want to give over the extra siphon, and that seals the deal. See you in finals, Seek and Lawrence.
And, you know, over the last 2 years, Lawrence and Hide and Seek have really just continued to inch and work their way on up, making now another appearance here to the FNCS Finals. Look at this, though. It wasn't just given to them. They had to time. They had to execute. They had to literally fight back, and they did it when it mattered most. Wrangled away the high ground from Redux and Duo, and then, and only then, did they have everything they needed to win the game.
Yeah, that timing that you mentioned. Lawrence was being a distraction on that second height layer, and when Seek went up for the kinetic blade, he saw that as a green light to go. Everything came crumbling down, and from there, it was calm, cool, collected, cooler than the other side of the pillow because they made it work, and this is where he's hunting down Wavy Jacob. Doesn't even go for a peek because, hey, this game is ours.
7 elimination wins, going to send Hide and Seek into limits Lawrence off to the finals there. Game 4 concludes in a big and spectacular fashion. And you know what? We love to see these teams fight in the end and literally earn all the heals that they need.
Yeah, and I kind of called it out throughout the course of that game. A ton of our players, not only in the top 5, but in the top 10, went down early on into that last game, which leaves that leaderboard open for the taking. I'm going to go ahead and throw it on over to Zeke so he can let us know where we stand before our final game.
Thank you guys so much. To just think this is the last game here in Surge Week. We are going to have another do again a Victory Royale, and then the top 5 advance to Grand Finals. Hide and Seek, Lawrence, they got themselves that Victory Royale. Really quickly, by the way, give a big welcome to Jenny Smile. She's hanging out with us for the last little bit here. My gosh, guys, this game was, they get progressively more and more chaotic.
You know, I think teams are kind of figuring out, right? There's only a couple games left, these being one of the last two, only one more. And there was a huge fight for the higher ground during that 11th zone. Jenny, we know who came out on top of it, though.
Bro, that was crazy. We had 3 teams fighting for height there because we know how much of an advantage height can be. But Hide and Seek and Lawrence came out on top. No pun intended. They ended up winning the game. Look at them go. So proud.
Yeah, I mean, it was just all about making sure that they went up at the opportune moment. And the funny thing is they weren't even one of the initial teams fighting for it. They heard all the shooting going on up there, decided to ramp out towards the front side of the movie zone, looked back, got a couple of free shots in, ended up taking it.
And for me, looking at the points, remember a Victory Royale is basically 1,000 points, but just means you're going to go straight through. They ended that game with 134. If we take a look at the standings,
oh my God,
they would have been right here, right? So they're saying, hey, we don't even need to fight anymore. We don't need to be in top 5. Let's get a victory out. Let's just go straight to Grand Finals. Let's take a look now. Remember, coming out of those last 2 games, everything was kind of still the same. Look at the shakeup we're seeing right here. Mega and Snake, they actually managed to take over Vivid.
Yeah, I mean, they've been playing very, very consistent. And look at the tiebreaker between first and
It's a
second.
perfect tie.
Same elimination, same placement points. Absolutely incredible stuff. And we've seen a couple of these moments, actually. These solo clutches from a couple of duos. Mega's now saying, hey, listen, we need some more points. We need to catch up to Clarity and Casker. And this solo performance did just that.
Honestly, I love seeing them play like the low ground, mid ground section because we have seen a lot of those teams try to take the height, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean those low ground teams cannot be successful. And we've seen it here. They played it very well. They were so methodical, waiting for the right time to shoot, making sure they have loot, not even worrying about trying to switch the guns at the end. They were like, I got to make sure that I'm fully loaded. I have to get the loadouts and I have to get the materials and I'm ready.
Love watching solo plays try to happen, right? Because, you know, we're so used to watching duos and all this formulaic stuff happen. And then you kind of watch Mega right there. He just kind of play like a little hiding spot, trying to make sure that he gets an elimination one more. Almost gets it with that 150. Unfortunately, doesn't find the full elimination, but still got enough points to put themselves first place.
So wild. Again, take a look at these standings, man. So volatile to see fourth and fifth. They basically both jumped up in that top 5 spot together, right? With only a single game. What does the top 20 look like, right? Let's take a look together. Remember, Victory Royale, Auto Qualify are coming into that top 5. Scented and Favs, they're in 14th place. Guys, we've been watching them all day. Now, they did make a big leap, right? 12 places, Jenny, that's huge.
Yeah.
But they need to do that again. And even that may not be enough.
Yeah, no, truly. I know that we are such fans and we believe in them. They have shown such consistency and we've seen them like play so well, making sure they're matted up, making sure that they are just getting in the positions on endgame and playing aggressive when they need to. But, you know, is it going to be enough, Vivid?
Are they teeing us up again for one of these last game qualifications, right? They did it in week 3. Are they going to do it here again in Surge Week? Making themselves just close enough to potentially break into that top 5. Of course, Victory Royales are still a possibility for this duo as well. Maybe they're finding their stride now that they are landing over at the racetrack. Straight up abandoned pretty much a free vault. So that just, you know, speaks to how comfortable Scented is at that drop spot that he's been landing at all season.
That would be so wild. The double miracle back-to-back run. Scented Bev, we're here for it. It's now on you guys. Make something happen. Let's take a look, though, because there's actually something you wanted to point out to us, Vivid.
You know,
what is that?
You know, last game and this game, the 7th zone kind of behavior, it showed the same thing. Shout out to these players and their adversity when it comes to some of these zones, because some of them are so hard to traverse. Look at this. That zone popped, and not a single team was in it. And these types of rotations are so difficult because it kind of is broken down into 3 different types of rotations. That first wave of players that kind of makes it into the zone, going to be the ones with the purple connect bays, the second, the blue ones, and then the third, it's going to be the teams with no mobility.
Absolutely wild. Just to think, like, yeah, this is like a good way to contextualize how difficult this all is.
They went through that.
they went through that. We have 1 game left to go here in Surge Week. It's now or never, okay? These duos, they have to find that victory. Think about it. A duo in 50th place could come out right now, get a victory out, and secure that grand final spot. That's insane.
That is what I love about Surge Week.
I'm down.
It's because anything can happen, and you're looking at these teams, and as the games go on, you have the teams that are playing so well, they're not in the games anymore. So that's an opportunity, another step, and another opportunity for these teams to come in and just take that first place spot. And again, you have all those uncontested areas to take, vaults. I mean, it's so exciting, and I cannot wait for the last game.
Scented, Fevs, just do it again. Miracle run.
Double miracle. Double miracle. Let's run it. 1 game left to go. How does it all end? Let's find out right here, right now.
Well, this is it. Game 5 has arrived. And again, let us stress the fact that everything matters here and now. You need to win or be the most consistent. We've already seen what can go down. Teams with almost no points can literally punch their way to finals. But at the end of the day, you really want to take the dub.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, I talked about it. This is the 5th and final game. The last chance to keep your season hopes alive. There's a lot of pressure on some teams that may have not felt pressure like this before, but the battle bus is ready. Monster, let's get to it.
Let's get on this battle bus. Let's go ahead and see who we will be sending to the FNCS Grand Finals. The last chance right now to go ahead and pick up this dub here. If you are just tuning in, Five games, 5 wins. That's what matters right now. But look at this contested drop for Punisher, for Costa, who will beat the drop first here. Costa gets the touchdown, get a gun here, slides inside and doesn't quite grab the Chap. I think Punisher had that too, so they do have the weapons, but they didn't get the tags.
Oh, Cyber actually, he did go down to Punisher. He was probably the one that kind of boxed him up. Sears there. He does have at least a Maven to try to fight back, but does he have any bit of material to kind of work with? As Costa trying to box him into the box, he gets dropped. A trade's going to go through. Costa still has health kind of ringing in. That's the shield keg towards the bottom. The HP is kind of ticking up. You see the weapons being passed towards the low ground. Punisher is giving him everything that he has to work with.
This is scary because you're giving Yasir a true chance to fight back. And look at how Yasir repositions, goes for the right camera feed. This is an excellent showcasing of how to play a 1v2 situation, especially when you have something working in your favor. Now, yes, Costa is max health, but he does not have a power weapon like Yasir does in the shotgun. The SMG is good, but the shotgun is trusty. And just like that, peeks in and out. It's so good. We get to run it back from Yasir's angle. He literally landed, found Brick, had nothing, boxed him up. That little play right there gives him time to get the shotgun and turn around. Look what he managed to do with it.
Well, that is something you do not see every day. And I know these guys have a huge fan base. Their chats right now probably just cheering them on. This could be it because they were a team that even I was looking at with the only victory royale in the lobby from the first 3 weeks of play. I thought they had the blueprint out, and this could be it.
Man, and Punisher and Costa, just so you guys understand, they were in 13th consistent. This could have been it. We needed a big game right here. But we fast forward. We move on.
5 on Kinzo. They had a big moment in the last couple of games to try to shoot themselves as far up the leaderboard as possible. 126 points. This is going to be it. Kinzo gets dropped, though. The Caesar, 1v1 scenario. Defiable with a couple of shots. He's going to have the health lead in this fight. And with the combat and the high ground, Defiable lives to tell the tale and keeps their hopes alive.
Don't sleep on that combat, but if you can get the cursor where it needs to be, it does so much damage. D-Roller has to be careful here. These are opponent builds. You can see him switching back and forth. There's a down body here. The finish comes through. Another combat coming into play there. Jackson comes in and cleans things up. D-Roller and Jackson now find themselves their last chance to take a win here. Every single team you see fall now means that they do not have any more opportunities to play for the finals position, for the final slot. Only one duo can win this game, and only one duo will absolutely guarantee a position if they can win.
I haven't seen Sid and Diminished in the distance. They were landing over towards the Citadel almost every game on the day. And with their chance at the top 5 gone and out the window, they switch up their drop spot, hoping it changes things enough for them to come out victorious and keep their season hopes alive. But going up against a stacked Slappy Torch, especially Jude Trials and Broken, who have been the heavy hitters over on this side of the map, is gonna be one hard team to kind of take down.
be inside that top 5 and solidify your way to the final. So a lot of win conditions on the table right now for any of these bubble squads. Smallsy and Diego here included. Let's watch it though. Okay, little toe-to-toe action. Smallsy's trying to step up here, giving himself a little room to work with. And there it is. The wall comes down. He tries to take it, and actually Frost surprises him with a quick edit and a shotgun exchange.
Nice what he's doing.
Oh, there it is.
Building, getting the piece control. Underneath his, Frost is going to go down. Diego's on the other side, just trying to alleviate the pressure, and he finishes that one off. Smalls and Diego get all this loot, the weapons cache as well, and replenishing their materials that they just used. But from one weapons cache to another, Defiable just peeking through, just trying to get that information, spotting out Kinzo, just ready to peek at a moment's notice to try to alleviate pressure if Kinzo ends up in a bad spot.
There it is. The loot comes out. Let's see what's going to happen here. But Defiable and Kinzo, they're on a journey. And we want to know all about that journey. Kelly, give us the update.
I mean, Monster, you were just talking about it before. We are looking at those bubble teams, and Defiable and Kinzo are just outside of the bubble, so they're doing whatever they can to give them the best success for that end game and getting more placement points. And look at what they're doing right now. They already grabbed 2 eliminations, making sure that they have those Storm Surge tags. They're looting up in Storm, and they're able to grab some much-needed vision here. And with a weapons cache, they're looking to be in a good spot.
Thank you so much, Kelly. In a good spot indeed. About 30 points shy of that bubble in which you were speaking of. Interesting how they're going to play this one out. Do you get confident? Do you get more aggressive to make up that difference? Or do you play your game out, hoping that somebody goes down early and opens up the door for you to kind of take that position?
Same can be applied for Sensen and Favs. Do they turn up, right? Do they have that in them? I don't know. Sensen's a very methodical player, one known to actually play for end games. He hasn't quite been able to piece all that together today. Also not necessarily known for high elimination games and converting W's. Like, this is what we like to call the second place king for quite some time, right? Very tough spot to be in because he needs a win now. Day in short.
Still, it's at least within reach for them. They may need to pick up a few more eliminations than some other teams. In day, team with Shore. They continue to southwestern pull. And even if it does pull one more time, you always have to beware for that zone pull back in either direction as Rift Island appears once again. And it's Zypha and On1 could be one of the first teams to try to claim it as their own. And if you look at the minimap, there's very, very few teams in the distance that look ready to contest them.
Yeah, like, what a surprise, right? Rift Island spawns right in between some of a safety net in the middle of the zone. There's really one other team thinking about it. They're starting to slide over, like, hey, they really want to do this. They find themselves on a dirt road down below, and they're now second-guessing themselves. Remember, this is a huge risk you take on once you start to commit here. It's a true commitment. Defiable.
Hey,
They're
he
thinking about it.
he could be one. He did it in a few games in the past, so it's definitely at least in the back of his mind. But a team that's just so far away from that Rift Island caster and Clarity, but they're so far above the leaderboard. Honestly, they just need to kind of squeak in, get some placement points.
This is crazy. I remember way back in the day, Casker was literally a part of these times. So let's journey back into Chapter 1, Season 1 days. Remember back in the day, you wouldn't even break a tree to reveal yourself? That's why. If someone sees the tree break, you give up your spot, and Casker, you immediately, especially now this whole new Unreal artifacts and then all the effects that come through, there's a player there. They find tags for it. But hold up. Big action here. Dude, Mars and Pars here, they have really been turning online.
Yep, better late than never. But for them, they left themselves in that position to where it's VR or nothing. 80 points. It's almost impossible to double up your scoreline and surpass those players into the top 5. But at least with that win condition out the window, they can focus on just getting that VR.
Well, Bolt and Thoric, FNCS champions here, showing off the pickaxes in the lobby. So close. They are so close to either making it all come true and having a chance at the FNCS title one more time, this time on the Central, on the merge of the best regions, or being sent back home. What a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, they're progressively getting better each and every week. throughout the first 3, only making it to finals in week 3 with a 27th place finish. Interesting enough, they missed that game 1 as well, which cost them a lot of points. If they would have just got a little bit higher up on the leaderboard, they wouldn't be here in a lobby like this, but that's the game we play in Fortnite. All it takes is one misstep, one mistake, and the same could be said true for players here in this lobby, but with a huge cushion for Mega and Snake, they at least have some room to work with.
Mega sitting up top. Full lines of sights on the entire outer skirts of the lobby. Oh, he finds someone out in the open. That was probably a sweet surprise. He was baiting the chest there. Notice how he's been aiming directly back there, so he knew that team was going to go for it. Little did they expect Mega to be eyeing down outside the lobby. But look, it's cost Mega a lot. Mega's, when we tuned in last, had 6 minis. He's down to 1. He does have a couple shields there, but it's kind of a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, and especially almost looks like he's stuck as a solo. There's a lot of pressure on him to try to at least make it past a certain point in the game, because you got to imagine the cushion from performing so well, consistent throughout the first 4. They've at least given themselves that reward. Peyton Cardi, 176 points. They are in the top 5 as it stands right now. With 3 eliminations, they built themselves even more of a cushion from the teams below them. They just need to hold on to their position. No mistakes, no bad moves, and they can't fall behind here. So many teams are just outside the zone, focusing on their rotation as well.
They're on the heels of Thoric and Bolts you saw in the distance right there. But a student with Acro. Acro has had so many moments today of just greatness, truly shining through. Now finds himself just above the surge here, targeting opponents all on the outskirts. No one reveals himself. The shots here puts the brakes on everyone on the outskirts. There's only one duo, though, there that does have to make the slide in.
Gotta imagine how they'd be feeling. In that last game, game number 4, they were going against Paper. Shadow got sent back rather early, and this is where you see the vault loop. And that chance to kind of claim it is here with Paper and Shadow just getting stuck in his bad position. The Desmond's there on the other side, though. The Rail's just trying to break through, make it easy for Paper to get from one point to another and take down yet another player here right before our very eyes. That gets him 8 points more and that much closer to the top 5 they're looking for.
You just see Paper laying down the communication. That guy was in shambles. Calls it out. He says, we got this. They close this pretty quickly, just like that. They're way above the surge now. Nothing to worry about. Bounce back, get max material, and then cruise on out of here. Now, again, the clock is ticking, and it's a race to move here shortly. Just 25 seconds remaining there. And this is Game 5. Game 5 of North America of the Surge Week. One team will be able to take a win here and go directly to finals. 5 teams will be able to be the most consistent and also take a spot to finals.
And in the interesting end portion, if any of those teams into the top 5 get that DR, it just opens up the spot to that next person below to really shake things up. Cardi and Pace. They could be that team that gets the VR and opens it up for somebody else right below them. A few seasons ago, Chapter 3, Season 3, I do believe it was Pam Stewart and Batch. They were the ones who qualified to the finals, got themselves a top 5 finish because another team above them are the ones who qualified.
That's right, and don't forget, every week you can tune in to watch the FNCS in-game in Legends Landing. It's available, it's there, big screen, sit back, kick it with your friends, party up, meet new people in Legends Landing as well. It's a very immersive place to be.
Box fights, aim duels, there's
everything.
Plenty to do, and watching the games in Legends Landing. I usually find myself there watching some of the games.
So cool.
308 above, Askers and Clarity. They've cemented themselves as one of the teams to beat here in this lobby. I don't think they're going to go down anytime soon. 296 above the damage threshold. The only thing they got to worry about now is that far pool they've just been given here by the lobby. But as they survey every player around, this is going to see them try to rotate first. They don't want to get stuck behind and gate kept by anybody else in the lobby.
They play smart, too. They got that low lip on the mountain there to just cruise along the beach side and just kinetic blade their way in. It's perfect. Mega, though. Mega's literally underneath the surge right now, under huge scrutiny and tags, and not a single duo in sight. He is off to play this one by himself. Look at how great he's managed to perform here by himself. No Snake.
But now he's just really being tested. Backs up against the wall. A lot of his heals going out the window, 154 below the damage threshold. That red eye is not going to do 154 damage the way he needs it. ODM or nothing.
no.
He's going to get some heavy hitters here in this lobby, and they take down Mega. First place is now down, and that opens up the door for somebody to at least take the top spot for bragging rights.
Like, and what more can you ask for? He really had a difficult game to try to put up points. On his own. He does get, again, frozen in time, 196. Will it hold out? There's about a 30-point difference within, or amongst the other top 5, so they're all alive right now. They all have a real chance to keep earning. That's his biggest problem. If you're Mega, you're hoping second or third fall, solidify yourself a position there. We'll see.
Oh, huge opportunity for Defiable and Kinzo. Catch somebody slipping, the edit's open, and they slide right in to take all that loot and more points for their total. And see Nosh, Tavern, everybody that's almost not in that top 10 to kind of start the game is going to have a tough job if they're laying it on the line in terms of top 5. So for some of these teams, it is win to keep your story going here on the weekend. 66 above the damage threshold, Shore and Day. They're finding just a little bit of comfort knowing that they can heal and try to stabilize themselves, but in the back of their mind, they know Storm Surge is still going to be annoying. It's like a fly at a picnic.
Well, here it is. We're just moments away from things turning up. Paper and Shadow get dived in on by DeRoller, who's there and looking for the action here. This is what happens when the Surge is online and ready, but Jackson DeRoller taken out to the hands of Shadow. He managed to successfully defend himself here. And look, if you're on the side of the zone, which most of the lobby is, you're pretty happy. The last games, it was bouncing way far. Some teams try to overcommit. It didn't work out this time. It was not a far bounce. Instead, it was favorable to the majority. And if you're Paper and Shadow, you're pretty much chilling. He's got everything they need. ODM fully fresh and stocked up. But here's Pate. Here's Cardi. Cardi is down. Pate's by himself. And they're out. 5th place down. Out. Contenders. Literal contenders. Out of the game. And a spot could be opening up now as Pate and Cardi fall.
This is getting interesting, and for them, they're at the edge of their seats watching the rest of this one. Does their points hold? Did they grab enough? Sentin and Fab, they realize this is not enough points for us. We're gonna need that miracle run. Can Lightning strike twice for Fabs and Sentin as they put that pressure on a team above? That's Onward, that's Cypher. They're trying to drop them into their hands. Putting some shots, 220 buns damage threshold when it comes to Storm Surge. That's a sense of comfortability for them, but they realize proactivity is the key here. Not letting anything slip through. As Sentin, brave as can be, bulldozes his way through Zypha.
And he opens the box up for Fast as well as he picks up all the loot there. He knows that he had the siphon. He could take that little bit of extra damage, but the win condition, they try to get the flopper there. Was it worth it? We'll find out here as they took so much damage there. And there it is, the legendary Slurp Juice used. The flapper eaten, and they lost a lot. Look at the standing. 2 spots are available right now. Potentially, you have to outperform them. For Thoric and Bolt, they're still up. They're inching their way through to the end here. And also, keep in mind, you literally need a win if you're like currently here in this position. There's no other way you're getting the finals.
And most importantly, though, that 170-point threshold that we saw in that top 5, Wavy, Jacob, and Static, trying to hold on to that one 10 toes down, but one of the next teams in line is Paper and Shadow. 20 points is all they need to gather here. As Caskers and Clarity, 204, they got their first place spot almost cemented as long as they can outlast both Bolt and Thoric as they continue to look everywhere to try to find where their next elimination is from. There goes Bolt and Thoric, next in line to take that top spot, and they're only 68 above the damage threshold. So they're looking all around to see if anybody can get caught off guard so they can land the perfect shot so that way they don't have to worry about Surge the rest of the game.
That's right, danger is looming. Defiable. Kinzo looking at high ground. It's only Parse up there. Parse little low on material here, gets sized up and timed out, and just like that, he takes too much damage. I think he has to give it up here. He's trying to situate himself to play for height once again. Lands on an opponent, doesn't realize what's going on, and it's Kinzo who's now cranking his way on up. He doesn't have much mats though. He's also below the Surge here.
Storm is ticking in.
Oh my
This is not
gosh.
the best position to be in, but they have heals. They
Broken
can outlast all this, but if they get chopped down and take fall damage, that will be it. We saw paper fly through the sky. Sentin
Did he
want to
slice?
revive it. Sentin is back. This is their chance. If they want to win the game, this is the perfect moment to go for it.
They do. They come up to top. Now remember, since they have not had any more kinetic blades, if they get chopped here, it's all over. There's no way for him to save himself. Finally, a charge comes in. Sentin and Fabs manages to find themselves on high ground. Shadow and Paper want to play for it too. They're trying to chop it down. Look at how they're breaking structures around them, looking for any opportunity. Clarity has done enough to make an end game. They should be coasting their way through just based off of consistency. They're just the disruptors now of the lobby.
And everybody's hopes, everybody's dreams, if we get into the top 6, Cypher's gone, Onward's by himself, but you can see it's Static Loss who got eliminated by him early on in this game. Where does Wavy Jacob stand? Are they still in the top 5? Who knows? But Bolt and Thor, they said forget the top 5. We want that top spot here on the leaderboard. They want the confidence going into finals next week.
And it's crazy to think, although they have enough points, they want to fight for the dub. If you're sensitive, you're fast on high ground, you are not safe. First place out. Shadow and Paper still have a chance here. They need to turn up a little bit more. They will need just again, a hero's effort. But look, other teams that need a win are thinking about it. They're going up.
This is it. Shadow, he has to stay alive.
Huge.
172 with Wavy Jacob out. They might have gotten themselves into the top 5, but that's Thor going down. Shadow's run comes to an end. Did he do enough? Only time will tell. As Borg with already a 70-plus point solo impact day, he's trying to have that repeat performance and get that first place spot away from Clarity and Clasker.
And Bolt's just insane. He literally takes down Spirit Bowl. Spirit Bowl still has Felix in this game. I thought for a moment there it could be Felix and Spirit Bowl who fight off against the veterans on high ground. But Fabs and Sentin looks like they have now officially run out of material. As you can see, they're just inching their way out. Felix doesn't have much either, but he does have a win condition available. If there's heals on this body here, Bolt, he should be okay. But Diego has even more to work with here. The tags come through, and that's going to start exchanging hands here. Fabs can do it here. They jump down. Sentin is in the zone, and this might just be enough, Jacob.
This is big. They were the only team left in the lobby. They have all the heals. Talk about
Sentin's
lightning
down.
striking twice. Fabs with all the pressure on. This is
Diego.
exactly how him and Snacky won it last year. If they can do this again, this will be huge. But Diego plays only 15 on the med miss. A huge shot by Fabs. Can lightning strike twice? And Diego going for it. He shuts it all down, ending the run of Stenton and Fabs to take the final game of the day and book his ticket directly to the FNCS Grand Final.
The best part about it, Diego could have won if he just sat there and he said, nope, I'm not going to give it up to that. I'm going to fight my way through this. I'm going to bulldoze my way through this brick wall that was Fabs and Sentin. Look at the peak right there. A 2v1 by Diego, and even more so because he has to fight for it. And look, right here is that moment we were talking about. He slips on over in the side jump. What a better way to close out.
I'm just wondering how many eliminations did they pick up overall as a team? They did get second place. They could, in theory, have bumped themselves up on the leaderboard because we know Bolts, we know Clarity. The way they performed on the day, they got their spots locked.
That's right, and other teams felt like Mega and Snake, but we won't be doing the math from here. Monster Jacob, we're just gonna send it on over to the crew. We need the numbers.
Thank you so much, Monster D Face, Jacob PR, a fantastic set of games. My gosh, coming down to the wire. Unfortunately, lightning does not strike twice for Sentin and Fabs, but for Diego, they're going to grand finals.
Yo, what a shot from Diego to win the last game of Surge Week of Major 2 and guarantee that spot in grand finals. The big question, though, will be, did Sentin and Fabs get enough points? I don't know.
Dude, I was just like shaking. We were all standing here watching that in that moment. That's what I was saying down there. It's like unreal. Anything can happen. And we were also just talking about if he would have just played it a little bit more patient and maybe waited for the healing. Oh, I mean, it could have gone anyway, but he was like, no, I got this. Did you though? Not exactly. So I'm so excited to see if it's enough to make them get to grands. I don't know though.
So big from Diego, though. Mechanically, played it very, very intelligent. He knows he gets that knock on the Sentin who is in the zone. Uses that in combination with the legendary slurp boost, the med miss that he has, and then the mechanics shown in full force in that 1v1 against Fabs. Incredible stuff.
Dude, we've had some insane games. And just to think, like, we don't even know what the standings look like yet. Who is going through? Remember, duos have to make it into that top 5 if they want to continue that FNCS run. top 5 will send you to grand finals, and a victory out will do the same. I'm nervous.
I'm like, drum roll. I'm like, what's it
I
gonna
know.
be?
Well, let's find out together. We have the standings ready. Let's see who is going through. Unfortunately, Scented and Fabs, they did go up 5 placements, but it was not enough. As we look up Bolt and Thoric with just some of the craziest
So he played so well.
Absolutely. Now remember, this is just the consistency factor. Don't forget, we had duos go through on Victor Royales. So why don't we send it on from Monster Defense and Jacob PR to remind us.
This is a huge moment for us to celebrate our 5 Victory Royale winners. And it starts with game number 1, Scoped and Mason. You call Mason the Surge Whisperer. This is the second time he's qualified through a Surge Week format.
And to do it back-to-back, literally, from last season to this one, just carrying on the competition here. Just look at the highlight moments here. Big plays for him. He managed to sit back, catch the heel, but it wasn't just him. And then the veterans, FNCS ex-champ, we got Jock and Qua, man. They come on through in an exceptional performance. They gave us exactly what we wanted. Fighting, right? Really battling their way through for the dub.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like it wouldn't even be an FNCS without watching them in the finals, performing to a high standard. But in game number 1, they had a chance. Sprite and Giants. If at first you don't succeed, you try again. Game number 3, they took that same formula, that recipe for success that they found in game number 1. They mimicked it, but in this time, they sealed the deal.
That's right, and it was a big play for them. Look at how many elims finishing out with just about 7. Game 4, though, hide and seek limit. Lawrence, you saw the high ground plays. This is where things got really desperate for our players. All of a sudden, we saw just the impossible happening. Everyone trying to swing their way on up to height and using anything in their power to make sure they solidify the dub.
Yeah, definitely going to cause some havoc there in the finals, but Diego plays
What a
and
game.
Smallsy. Diego staggered himself outside the zone, took down Scented, challenged the high ground to take down Fabs as well. That was an earned FNCS Finals appearance if I've ever seen one.
And you know what? The side jump just really just showcasing how great of a player Diego Plays is. What an excellent way to just close it out. And again, these are 5 rounds. Notice the top 5 through consistency. A 3-way tie at 188 points. That's how close it was for that 4th and 5th spot. Both teams having literally tied points. They need eliminations to push through. That was the difference maker.
Yeah, eliminations was a huge difference maker in the game overall. The switch up of format really challenged a lot of players to go for that high risk, high reward scenario. And for some, it paid off tenfold. You saw them shooting up 5, 15 spots on the leaderboard game after game. And it goes to show for all of our competitors that qualified to the FNCS Finals, I got 1 week to prepare, and I hope they use it wisely.
This is really what Surge Week is all about, right? We get to come through, celebrate this format. This is the most explosive type of Fortnite you're ever going to get, where every single win has so much significance behind it. But at the end of the day, it's over. And now, Zeke, we get to start gearing up for finals.
And what a time, right? Just to think, the crazy play we saw today. We're just going to crank that up to 11 next week in grand finals. I mean, what more could you possibly ask for? Well, guess what? We're going to deliver because we have Paper standing by. One of the players we just watched their crazy gameplay and qualify. Paper, how's it feel?
I feel good, but at the same time, like, I'm kind of disappointed because I feel like it was a little bit too close. And, you know, we ended 9th overall, and the last game I kind of sold, so I wanted it to be like us to be first instead of 9th because, you know, I want the like really good confidence boost for grands.
Yeah, okay, so let's like dive in on that. What do you guys think you need to refine going into grand finals?
I think our mentalities and our communication, because me and him, like, you know, we're kind of a like brand new team. Our chemistry isn't the greatest, and a lot of our comms like mix and match. Like, I don't listen to him, he doesn't listen to me. But then when we get end game, you know, it's pretty good. Like, and we like start catching the flow. But I think that's our biggest problem.
And of course, when it comes to grand finals, I know there's a couple teams already landing over at Shattered Slabs. Are you guys going to go ahead and contest them, or are you guys going to maybe switch it up? Like, what's the game plan? Do you have one yet?
We're landing at a split drop by Breakwater, but I don't leak too many strategies, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I might land on everybody, you know what I'm saying? It wouldn't matter.
Okay, so I know that y'all played not exactly how you wanted to. However, coming into this, you know, grands, you're going to be in a lobby with the best of the best players. Is there going to be a certain mentality that you're going to go in holding on to? Are you going to switch up strategies? Not having to give anything away, but like, you know, are you going to change anything up?
I think, you know, in this qualifiers, I feel like there's more nerves, and it's harder in these qualifiers than in grand finals. Because, like, when you walk into grand finals, you get in that mode. Like, I get in that Mamba mentality, you know what I'm saying? And I get into it, and, like, I feel like endgame, I was saying, like, a lot more to be passive, but in the grands, you can't really be like that. So I would probably be a lot more aggressive in the grand finals.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah. Who do you guys think is maybe your biggest competition going to grand finals?
Man, I don't want to like hype other teams up, but I'd say the biggest competition is probably Acorn and Cold, because they just won the week 3 and then they won last FNCS. So, yeah.
I respect it. Well, hey, once again, congrats. You're in grants. Now we just got to study up and bring it next week. Now, for all the fans out there who are going, Paper, I'm going to follow you to the end of time. Where can they find you?
Well, you could pretty much only find me on Twitter or kick.com/paper. Find me on there.
Absolutely. Well, hey, once again, huge congrats. We can't wait to see how you guys show up next week, and we'll catch you then.
Thank you.
There you have it. Don't forget, next week, grand finals, 2 days of Fortnite, 6 games each day, all to crown champions. But not only that, top 3 will secure spots in globals. Whew. There's so much to play for going into next week, Vivid. And if this is just like a taste, I'm looking forward to it, man.
Time flies, Zeke. Like, you know, I remember we were standing up here. We were looking at the schedule. We were like, this is week 1. Grand finals are in a couple. Grand finals are next weekend already. So many big name teams. I mean, Paper mentioned them. Acorn and Cold, they're looking hot. We got Booga and Threads, Kanata and Aders. What's going to happen? I don't know. I can't wait.
And, you know, can I just give hats off to Paper Man? What a well-executed interview. Like,
Yeah.
the community loves him already, but you can really see why he's such a charismatic person. Playing with Shadow, by the way, like, again, we talked about that communication. Like, that's something that if they can lock that in, such raw talent, right? Raw talent. Like, they never played before to come together and qualify. I mean, you saw the lobby. It was a crazy lobby to fight against.
I'm just excited. I gave one guarantee my entire life. It was a vivid guarantee. There was 11 guarantee, a mini mining guarantee. I gave one. I thought it was going to happen last week. I said Bolts and Thork are going to be in the FNCS finals. It may have taken an extra week, but they're in.
Nice. Dude, yeah, the Bolts, those plays, seeing Bolts clutch as a solo was actually mind-blowing. There were so many moments where we're like, wait, what? This is happening. What the heck? I love that.
And again, just a reminder, don't forget that those 40 best duos, they're waiting. They are there. We're now seeing just this, a sample, going into next week. How much farther they have to fight? How much harder? What have those other duos prepared that we haven't seen yet? Guys, there's so much, and I want to talk about it all, but that's it. At least for now. Next week, we come back 2 days. Europe will be playing. We'll be playing. It'll be absolutely phenomenal. As always, we love y'all so much. Keep yourself safe, and we'll see you on that battle bus.
Beep, beep. Oh.
Gente, eu vou ficar sem a webcam mesmo, porque, né? Não tenho webcam. Mas depois, se eu reiniciar de novo, volto. Terminou a FNC dessa semana. Eu vou entrar só no Salvo Mundo pra pegar o meu prêmio. E depois eu vou de cama. Muitas coisas estão acontecendo pra... Então eu vou encerrar